Today is 9/11, the day after the famous debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump for the presidency for 2025. I'm sure most of you have already caught up. You already seen the videos, or you watched it live, or you've seen all the jokes and memes going all around on social media. If you are on social media, you'd have caught up, but I don't want to bore you today. I just want to mention 6 lessons that we can learn from the way Trump behaved. 6 lessons we can learn not to behave the way Trump did. The results from the debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump came out, and the media is unanimous in their decision, and the experts also support the fact that Kamala Harris won this debate hands down, and for so many reasons, and some of which I want to us to learn, about this behavior, this attitude of Trump. Here are 6 lessons that we can learn. First of all, your past will always come back to haunt you. So it is always important that when you are in the current time, when you're in your present, always, use discretion, always use wisdom to make certain decisions. All of your decisions, if you can. If it's not possible not to make errors in life, but as much as you can, try to make, very minimal errors in life. But when you're doing things that, and you feel like you're going to one day run for government, or, take an important post in life, it is very, very important that you watch how you treat people, you watch what you do, you watch what you say. For instance, Donald Trump has a past or criminal record, 34 felons, and it came out during the debate. And you will see, how he handled all those questions posed towards him. He never takes responsibility for anything. And there were so many other things about his past, the lies that he lied, the way he talks. There was a place where he says that he won that by a whisk of the air, and they asked him about it, and he said, "Oh no, that was just a joke." But it wasn't perceived as a joke if that came out in such an important debate. And there's other things that he, about his relationship with, people that he shouldn't have had relationships with concerning his past. Moving on, learn to filter your tongue. I could not believe how someone who is a presidential aspirant would speak so insensitive, will speak so carelessly, will say combustive things and not give a damn. Like, how many times did he say things like, there might be World War III coming on soon? He mentioned it at least 3 times. I was like, do you want a World War III to happen? Or does he have an agenda? Or does he know something that some of us doesn't know? He kept saying that the people that he have talked to, like the big leaders, are saying that if Democrats come in, there will be a World War III. Where did he get all that from? And there are so many other times where he was just talking flippantly, and I was just disappointed. Number 3, humility will place you in high places, and it will attract more following for you. We can see how prideful Trump is anywhere. For instance, he said that he fired those over 200 Republicans that have jumped ship into Kamala Harris's Democratic team. And, when she was saying that, why did 200, if you're such a wonderful leader, how come over 200 Republicans have now moved on to join the Democrats, or saying they're not going to vote for you? And Trump immediately, like, you don't even have to always answer. You don't have to give an answer for everything. Like, especially if they're goading you and baiting you. You can just say, well, lose some, win some. Sometimes it's okay in politics. There's no, lasting enemies or friends or something like that. Be diplomatic. But instead, it was like, because you people don't fire nobody, you don't fire nobody, so I fire people. I fired most of them. What does that tell you about him? So, like, nobody can tell you the truth, because that's why some of them are still there, hiding in the background, afraid to speak the truth, except for people like Adam Kissinger, who spoke really honorably, talked about his love for principles of America that they believed in, and he doesn't care about what the party is as long as they believe in democracy. That is an intelligent man. So, Trump does not show humility at all, and that is not an endearing quality, to be so haughty, to be so prideful, to think that you are a god. That's how he sees himself. And that is why he said that the Prime Minister of Hungary says that he was supposed to be to come back and be president, because that's why America is falling apart when other countries are doing best. I bet if they talk to that Prime Minister of Hungary, he's going to say, I never said anything like that to Trump, because he lies a lot. He will say, I never said anything like that, because he says, because Trump is greater, he's the greatest, he's the best, and you are not God. Can you imagine if someone with such an inflated ego should become president, what he's capable of doing? And of course, he also denied any connections with the Project 2025. He knew nothing about it, that he has not even read it. Like, why would you not even want to read something that people are talking so much and saying that you said all of those things? Why won't you? He says he just dismissed it. There is so many things that did not, just add up. They did not add up to me. All right. Going on. Number 4 is, if you are offered opportunity for redemption, seize it. Let me explain. If you think that you made an error, or you didn't, but it's perceived that you made a mistake anywhere where you work, or in a political position like this, or doesn't matter, at school or in a project, you could be even in high school or in a university or wherever you are, and they give you a position and you didn't execute it very well, and then they give you an opportunity to explain. You should be able to use that in your advantage. It's it's a second chance. So at this time, when David Muir asked that question about, do you have any regrets for the way you handled the U.S. Capitol desecration and the vandalism that happened on that January 6th, Trump immediately went on the defensive and ranting. You've seen that. He could have handled this in a way if he had a good public relations person, because there's no way he wouldn't have known that this was going to be one of the questions that would have been asked him. But of course, maybe they tried to tell him and he was like, no, never accept, never accept that you did something wrong. No, there's a way you can accept your responsibility without it looking like you accepted that you did something wrong. He could have said something like, now looking back, I feel so bad about so many people that lost their lives. Perhaps I could have, acted quickly. I could have acted faster by making sure that those people vandalizing ceased fire right away, and perhaps some people will still be here. So for that reason, I accept some responsibility for what happened. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough information at that time, so I waited too long. Simple. People were like, wow, is that Trump? And maybe let's give him, another opportunity. Let's listen to him. But no, he blames Speaker Pelosi. How? like this. Wow. Young kids are watching. Generation Z, Gen Z, and the Alpha children are watching this person that's supposed to be the president. Us boomers were like, wow. I consider myself to be in the boomer generation. Anyways, number 5 is on abortion. You know that he did not do his fact checks. Like, how can you just make an assumption like that women that are in 9 months are going to be committing abortion, that have babies in their 9 months? I can't even talk about that part of it. I'm just so happy that he had a match in Kamala Harris, more than a match. She slayed that debate, and she, put him back in his crib where he should be, sucking his water bottle or milk. Another thing was when he said, he lied, another fib, that Kamala, and you can see the way he says it with so much confidence, like he was there, that Kamala was sent by the presidency to represent America to go and try and talk to Putin, Russia leader, for a peaceful resolution. But 3 days later, Trump says, 3 days after Kamala reportedly met with Putin, the Ukraine war between Russia and Ukraine began. So, in other words, he is insinuating that Kamala incited the war, that she is not diplomatic, that she has no diplomacy, she cannot handle such things, and that is so wrong. I mean, how could you say that of someone who has been Attorney General for decades? How could you say such a thing with all Kamala Harris's qualification? You don't need me to tell you what she has been and how she got to become a VP. So, also, the lies about the immigrants, the famous lie. You just go on TikTok and you won't believe what people are saying and doing, and all the pictures and videos they are making about dogs are relocating now because they are afraid for the neighbors to eat them, and also cats, like Donald Trump is now father of cats and dogs. And it's just, I don't even want, that is too ridiculous for me to dwell on right now. I also want to mention about the lie he lied about the father of Aiden, the father of Aiden came out recently, Aiden Clark, the one that was killed. He was accidentally killed, but Trump said he was murdered by an immigrant, and a Haitian. I've been using that for so long, and the father came out, you can research that, and said that Trump should stop using his son for political gratification, for political purposes, to advance his campaign. He doesn't want his son's name to be dragged. Let that son rest eternally in peace. Why would you drag a name, someone that has died, that is dead, and trying to rest, drag his name into such a dirty politics? I don't understand. That's what happened. The kid's name is Aiden Clark, and the father said that it was an accidental death. It wasn't murdered. Okay? Very brave of the father and honorable to come out and make such a statement. And you saw all the people that tried to sue, like Isaac Hayes' grandson, tried to sue Trump for using his music without his permission. There is so much, and yet some people are still saying Trump for 2024. There must be a hidden agenda, unless they belong to his court and think that there's something in it for him, because whoever is going to support someone like Trump has some sinister personality. They either people who are fraudulent, or people who have felonies, or people who have who disrespect, who do not like foreigners, immigrants, people who, there's so many, reasons. But anybody who has conscience and intelligence will not be picking Trump over Kamala Harris. The differences is obvious. Trump wants to take us back, but Kamala is moving forward. She is proactive, and she is modern, and she is understandable, and she is for the average, and also even she's for the middle class, and also for everyone, no matter where you are. But the reason why some very wealthy people do not want Kamala is because they are so greedy, because she only needs a little fraction out of your taxes. What is that going to do? How is that going to hurt you? All right. And lastly, number 6 is respect your elders. Can you imagine Trump saying that Biden hates Kamala? Why would you say such a thing? How can you prove that? So, and you know what the power of suggestion is? That will make someone start thinking that, oh, perhaps, thank God Kamala is very interesting, very intelligent. She knows better than to think that Biden is like a father figure to her, and she's known him for even long before she was elected as VP, is going to be Biden can't hurt nobody. Biden is a Christian. Biden is humble, and the difference is clear. He is not a hateful person. Trump is the hateful person. And for him to say such a thing, and so many things he said, so disrespectful to Biden, Kamala Harris had to call him to attention and say, look, you are not debating Biden, you are debating me. So the insults were totally uncalled for, and I was really, really disappointed. So all those 6 things. Please, there should be more over there. And if you think about anyone, kindly drop it in your comment. Thank you for watching. Watch the rest of these videos. I just selected some clips that might interest you, or that will remind you again about these things that I've just talked about. And make sure you do the right thing and vote the right candidate. Is a no-brainer, right? Have a good day.
To come into our country, and they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow, and I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it, because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But
excuse me, the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud. Just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich, coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just tell you about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president. But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but
Mr.
I'm okay
President,
with it
Mr.
because
President, your time is
I think
up.
we're
Thank
going to
you.
do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now
Yes.
to the Israel.
He exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un, and it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
All I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was he owned land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division. For members of our military, understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails. Because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.